Have you ever felt trapped in a loop? It is a cycle of pain that never seems to end. I know this feeling all too well. For years, I found myself in one painful relationship after another. Each one ended without a real goodbye. There was no closure. Just a sudden silence that left me with so many questions. Why did it end? What did I do wrong? Was I not enough? These questions echoed in my mind day and night. The lack of answers was a heavy weight on my heart. It kept me from truly moving on. I was stuck in a past that no longer wanted me. Each time a relationship ended, I would promise myself it would be the last time I would feel this way. But the pattern repeated itself. I would meet someone new, feel a spark of hope, and then the cycle would begin again. The heartbreak was always the same. It was a familiar ache that settled deep in my chest. I kept looking for closure from people who were not willing to give it. I thought their answers would finally set me free, but I was wrong. I was giving them power over my own happiness and peace of mind. This constant state of waiting was exhausting. It drained all my energy. The emotional toll was immense. I became a person I did not recognize. I was always sad, anxious, and full of self-doubt. My friends would tell me to just forget about it and move on. But it was not that simple. How do you move on from something that feels so unfinished? It is like reading a book and finding the last chapter ripped out. You are left forever wondering how the story was supposed to end. This feeling of being incomplete haunted me. It affected my work, my friendships, and my view of myself. I started to believe that maybe I deserved this pain. This cycle of heartbreak became my normal. I got used to the feeling of being left behind. I got used to the sleepless nights and the tears that would fall without warning. I was searching for love in all the wrong places. I was looking for validation from others instead of finding it within myself. The constant hope for a text message or a call that would explain everything was a form of self-torture. I did not realize then that the closure I was desperately seeking from others was something I needed to give myself. The first step was realizing I was stuck in a destructive pattern. Our bodies and minds are connected. When the mind suffers, the body often follows. The years of emotional stress and repeated heartbreak started to show in my physical health. I was always tired. I had constant headaches and stomach problems. Doctors could not find anything wrong with me. They would say it was just stress. But I knew it was more than that. It was the weight of unspoken words and unresolved feelings. My body was screaming for help. It was telling me that it could no longer handle the emotional pain I was putting it through. It was a cry for relief. The constant state of anxiety and sadness weakened my immune system. I got sick more often. A simple cold would last for weeks. My body did not have the strength to fight it off. The emotional pain had become a physical burden. I was living in a state of high alert, always waiting for the next disappointment. This chronic stress affects our hormones, our sleep, and our overall well-being. I was slowly breaking down, both emotionally and physically. I was ignoring the warning signs my body was giving me. I was too focused on the pain of the past to see the damage it was doing to my present. Then came the diagnosis that changed everything: thyroid cancer. It was a shocking wake-up call. Suddenly, the pain of my past relationships seemed small compared to this new battle. My doctor explained that chronic stress can be a contributing factor to many illnesses. While it may not be the direct cause, it certainly does not help. My body had finally reached its breaking point. It was a terrifying moment, but it was also a moment of clarity. I realized I could not continue living this way. I had to choose to fight for my life, and that meant I had to heal my heart too. This health crisis forced me to look at my life differently. It was no longer about getting answers from an ex-boyfriend. It was about my survival. It was about my health and my future. The cancer diagnosis was a harsh but necessary lesson. It taught me that my well-being had to be my top priority. I could not afford to let emotional pain consume me anymore. I had to let go of the anger, the hurt, and the need for closure from others. My life literally depended on it. This was the turning point where I decided to take back control. Healing is not a straight line. It is a journey with many ups and downs. My journey began with self-reflection. I started journaling. I wrote down all my feelings, my fears, and my unanswered questions. I poured all my pain onto the pages. It was a way to release the emotions I had kept inside for so long. Writing helped me understand my patterns. I saw how I kept choosing the same type of person. I saw how I ignored the red flags. It was a painful but necessary process of looking at my own choices and taking responsibility for them. Journaling was my first step, but I knew I needed more help. I decided to seek professional therapy. Talking to a therapist was one of the best decisions I ever made. It gave me a safe space to talk about my experiences without judgment. My therapist helped me see things from a different perspective. She taught me coping mechanisms for when the sadness felt overwhelming. She helped me understand that closure is not something you get from others. It is something you create for yourself. It is about accepting what happened and choosing to move forward. Therapy taught me the importance of acceptance. I had to accept that some questions will never be answered. I had to accept that some people will never give me the closure I thought I needed. And that is okay. Acceptance is not about saying what happened was right. It is about acknowledging the reality of the situation and letting go of the need to change it. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of the past. This was a powerful realization for me. I stopped waiting for an apology that would never come. I started focusing on my own healing. Another important part of my healing was reconnecting with myself. I started doing things that I loved, things that I had stopped doing when I was in those relationships. I went for long walks in nature. I started painting again. I spent more time with friends who truly cared about me. These small acts of self-care helped me rebuild my sense of self. They reminded me that I am a whole person on my own. I do not need a relationship to be complete. Slowly but surely, I started to feel like myself again. I was rediscovering my own strength and resilience. The most important lesson I learned on my journey was the power of self-love. For so long, I was looking for love and validation from others. I thought that if someone loved me, it would mean I was worthy. But I had it all wrong. True worth comes from within. Self-love is about treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion you would give to a friend. It is about protecting your heart and your dignity. It is about knowing that you are enough, just as you are. This became my new foundation. Embracing self-love means setting boundaries. I learned to say no to people and situations that were not good for me. I stopped chasing after people who were emotionally unavailable. I learned to protect my peace. My dignity and my well-being became non-negotiable. I promised myself that I would never again beg for someone's love or attention. If someone wants to walk out of my life, I will hold the door open for them. My peace of mind is more valuable than any relationship that brings me pain and anxiety. My advice to anyone going through a similar experience is this: be patient with yourself. Healing takes time. Do not rush into a new relationship to fill the void. Take this time to get to know yourself again. Prioritize your health, both mental and physical. Eat well, exercise, and get enough sleep. And please, do not be afraid to ask for help. Talking to a therapist or a trusted friend can make a huge difference. You do not have to go through this alone. Seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. In the end, the closure you are looking for is not in a text message or a long conversation. The ultimate closure is choosing yourself. It is looking in the mirror and saying, "I love you and I will protect you." It is knowing that your dignity, your health, and your peace are more important than any relationship that leaves you feeling broken. You are the author of your own story. You have the power to write a new chapter, one that is filled with self-love, healing, and happiness. Your new beginning starts now.